Right, so yes, we are back in the Wicks kitchen, and today we're going to put the flooring in, protect it, decor panels, worktops, potentially in, probably not completely finished, it all depends how the day goes, but if we can get them in, get them finished, even better than tomorrow. We can do all the plumbing, plinths, throw the doors on, protect it, ready for the weekend. Then the plasterer will come in and do his bit of plastering around here, all the way around, so this will all get replastered. And then obviously round and in to that corner. So that's what the plaster is doing. But we're going to lay the floor because otherwise I'm going to get held up. But anyway, let's get stuck in. We'll see you shortly. So we're just laying the flooring out just to get an idea of how it's going to flow. And I've got some tips for you. So rather than using a tape measure and confusing yourself, good way of doing it is what I do. Basically, I'm laying it out. I'm going to come off the feet because then the plinth will sit on top of that lovely, and then we've got a decent cut that side, so it won't look too out of place with the plinth on. It'll look like a cut either side, and then it will sail in nicely where our fridge, oven and washing machine go. But when you've got to dealing with a room that's an L shape like this, good little tip for you. These planks are the same length as, so if you laid that plank across there, it'd be the exact same length, even amount of planks, if you know what I mean. So when you want to work out how your cuts are going to work out that way, you can just overlap it like that, and that's your cut. So now you know exactly you're going to have that much of a cut, which is perfect. So it just works out absolutely brilliantly when you're doing this sort of thing, rather than trying to put bits in there to try and see how it goes. Just lay one that way, because that is the equivalent of the planks laid the other direction. So just a little tip for you when you're laying out, that will work really well. Or you could just do that and sew it up, and again that's your cut. So you know exactly what you're dealing with. So I know my cut's going to be roughly the same sort of cut as that, so that's perfect really. So basically now I know that, I can just start throwing this floor down now. Just really simple stuff. It's got its own built-in underlay. It's click-clock. You just lock them in, give it a tap on the little joints there, and it all clicks in. So now that I've done that, I can now multi-tool out that little bit of architrave, cut one of these boards roughly in half, sail it under the architrave, and then just do our second line and just keep working on it like that. Really simple, this stuff, guys. I'll try and give you some more how-to videos as I'm going.
You need the big track.
So let's get stuck in. So the main tools you're going to need for this sort of a job, really simple: sharp Stanley, a set square and a rubber mallet. Multi-tool is handy if you've got one, just for cutting out bottoms of the architrave so you can sail under and get a nice finish. But they're your basic tools. So my first job is going to be, I'm going to cut a plank in half so that I can put a cut there, and then the off cut will effectively do that end, and then we just keep working along. Do whatever cut you do here, you use the other side at that end, and so on and so forth until we get to this point, and then we'll have to do the scribes. So let's get stuck in. It's literally straight edge, score and snap. Really straightforward. I've already scored it. Now all I've got to do is give it a little bend and it will snap straight off. It's that simple for cutting these, guys. See, my next piece that's going to go here, it's got a sail underneath this architrave. So you can use a handsaw on its side. Preferred tool for it really is a multi-tool. You're going to put a board upside down, rest your blade on flat, and then just cut away. Just going to move it over a tad. And that's as simple as that. Now because I've latexed this floor, I'm going to have to do the bottom. Just like that. And then just pop out your off-cut bits like so. Get a hoover in there, hoover that out. And just like that, that will sail under. And then my next one, we can trim it a little bit more. And I'm going to tuck it just underneath there as well if I can. Probably going to have to replace that threshold strip, but we'll worry about that later on. So got our first cut in, now we can do a full length, and then we can do another cut and a full length, and then we can start throwing it all in. It's quite straightforward. All we've done is that we've got a cut, we've put it up to roughly where it is, we've marked where the threshold goes in, and all I've done is cut like a little, just a very small section out like so. We've cut this one, that's the joint, so we've cut it longer. We want it over 100mm on every joint. You don't want the joints too close together because that can cause you issues. So minimum over 10 centimeters, 100mm. I prefer to go a bit more than that. But once you've got it in, you should then slot, just bear with me, just like that. And I've tucked that underneath the threshold strip just for now. But that's absolutely perfect now. So now we can finish that row, bring this row in, and then that'll be all tied in then. And then just keep plodding along. And then obviously once we've done across here, up that line, we can then backfill inside these two areas. And then that decal panels can all go on, so on, so forth. This sort of vinyl flooring is quite easy to use. This one's the rigid. This one's what they call rigid. It doesn't have as much flexibility. I personally prefer the slightly more flexible one, but this is really good stuff in my opinion. Use it a lot, recommend it to most of my clients. Perfect for bathrooms and kitchens as well. That's a must because it's waterproof and it gives you a good water seal as well. Better than the lino, doesn't tear, because when you're pushing your appliances in and out, it will slide on this a lot easier than compared to lino. Obviously tiled is a different situation. But yeah, anyway, I rate this stuff. I'll see you shortly to get stuck back in. So when it comes to cutting something to length, really easy. You get your offcut, which in this case is this piece we cut from the other end. That's the edge you want to keep. Sorry, the edge you need to keep is there. So you put the edge you want to keep away from your cut, and all you're going to do is mark it, give it a couple of mil. It's not like laminate, well you need to give it 5-10mm expansion. This stuff needs minimal expansion. So we're going to cut that and that'll go straight in. So I've cut it, I've got it round the right way. All you're going to do is click it in, like so, get it in there like so. Make sure you close the gap up. And once she's in, get your mallet, just tap it, and you get a nice tight gap seal. That's it, that's all sealed up lovely. And that's just the same with every cut. Obviously when you've got to go around a corner, I'll do a different video on that. But yeah, that's that done. So we've got to do some scribes now, because we've done the main run. The main run is pretty much done. We've gone up around the feet, we've just gone under. I'm not going to worry about whether they are longer past, it doesn't matter, rather than doing epoxy little cuts. So this is what we've got to do now. So we've got to scribe this section in now. So how you do a scribe, I've already cut this one to length because this is a full length, so obviously we don't want a full length, and that's the next joint. So that's a good compromise. It's sort of in the middle of the two, so that's a good length. It will go that way a bit more because it's got to go under the threshold bar. So all we're going to do now is use an offcut like this, and all you're going to do is you're going to put this one dead on top of the one below. Make sure it's all nice and level, all so it's flush. And then you're just going to use a pencil and you're just going to mark. There's your pencil, you can use that as a guide using this edge, and you're going to go all the way along to the length of that using your pencil. And there's my pencil line now. And what I've also done, as my scribe bits hit the pipe, I've marked it, and then I've done the same that side, and then all we've got to do is something like that, a little mark there. So that now tells me that that's potentially what I've got to cut out to get around the pipe. It's only a rougher guide at the minute. So we use a straight edge now to cut that, or you can do it freehand if you're feeling confident. Now me personally, I like to use a full plank using this edge, which is closest to the floor, as my straight edge. So now I can run my knife down that, I can snap that, and if need be I can use my small hand plane just to take a little bit more off. We can test fit it, notch out for the pipe, and it should go straight in. So it took a little bit of time, a little bit of effort to try and get that in and get it around the pipe, but she's there, she's in. Just got to do the same thing now. We have another little issue around that bit of pipe, but we'll get around it some way or the other. But anyway, that's how you scribe. Get an offcut, cut the lips off both sides, and that effectively is your scribing tool. Keep hold of that and just keep going. So using the techniques I've just explained to you, you can literally do this entire floor without any issues at all. Just follow that little guide I've given you and you can throw this floor down in absolute no time at all. It's an absolutely brilliant system, completely watertight when it's finished, and as you can see, this is how quick you can throw it down. The floor is down. It took us, let's have a look, it took us 2 hours from 8 o'clock to tidy up, clean the floor, clear the kitchen floor area and lay this floor. It took us 2 hours. So that's how quick you can throw this stuff down. Now it's all finished, it's all in there. Ricky's now putting our black protection down. Obviously the oven's going to go in now. Not bothered about protecting that area. Don't need to protect that because we're going to be putting the washing machine back in there. So the next job we're going to do now, decal panel, decal panel, decal panel, decal panel on the end here. Figure out something with that fillet on there. Cut the decal panel ready to go in there. Probably going to fit them and then tape them up and protect the edges so that the plaster can just plaster to them. Otherwise it gives a better finish, I think. But we'll see how we get on. So that's the next job. Get on with the decal panels. Then we get the worktops cut, get them in. Happy days. Stay tuned.